Good morning, guys. It's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. Today we are going to draw a panda sitting down. It's going to look about like this. Be sure to like and subscribe, please. That helps me out. You need a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, or an eraser to join in. So grab your supplies and let's get started. I'm going to move my guide. We're going to use very simple shapes to create this panda. So in the beginning, we're going to start at the top of our page, about in the middle, with a circle. This circle is large enough we can get our whole arm going from our shoulder to create it. You're going round and around and around to make sure that you get that shape. I'm switching it up. I used a pencil today, so I'm making sure you can see me all right. All right, moving down from there, we're going to imagine that we are creating a snowman that's kind of squished. So we're going to start with a circle, and then we're going to move to an oval. And our oval is going to be bigger and about like this. Again, this shape is large enough you can get your whole arm going from your shoulder to create it. When you do that, you involve larger muscles and it makes it easier to get the shapes that you want. All right, moving down from there, another big oval, this time getting a little bit bigger all the way around. Keep going round and round until you get that shape. If it helps you, you can squint your eyes and then you'll say, oh yeah, there is an oval there, or there is a circle there. All right, let's move back up to the head. As we know, pandas have super cute little ears on the top, so we're just going to add little circles on either side of our face here, just like that. Very good. Now, inside the face, it's actually fairly simple. We're going to do an oval that's about in the middle, right about here. This is going to act as the shape that their nose and their mouth is inside of. And on either side of that oval, right about in the center of the face, we're going to add a little circle right about there, and then an oval like that. Now, to connect these shapes, we're going to add in some small lines that will act as our little connecting triangles, as I always like to say. And this will give us that cute little black patch of fur on that panda's face. Same thing on the other side of that nose oval. Do a little circle. I'm planting my wrist, and just like I did with my whole arm, I am just using my fingers going round and round to get these shapes. So we did a circle and then a little slanted oval. Now connect them with some triangles, and you've got your dark patches for the fur. Inside those two shapes, we're going to add the eye shape. Another circle, kind of right where those shapes meet up. We're going to add another circle about this big. This is going to end up being our panda's eye, just like that. And inside that, let's add another circle and another circle for a cute little highlight. Now, because their eyes are dark and that fur is dark, we're going to just draw a mimicking line around that, so we know we need to leave a little bit of white space when we fill this in with our marker so we don't lose those shapes and the eyes just kind of disappear. We don't want that to happen. All right, let's move down and do the nose. The nose is going to live right at the base of that oval on that face, and we're going to have it be made up of, it's going to end up being a combination shape for the nose and the mouth. We're going to do a little circle about there, just like that, and another one right next to it. And then on the top portion of those circles, we're going to add in an oval, just like that. And then inside that oval, another oval, just like that. So we're going to end up, this is going to help give us our mouth shape, and this is going to end up being our nose shape. Do a little connecting triangle there between those two circles. All right, moving down our panda's body, we need some ovals for arms and legs. So let's start off to this side. We're going to do an oval that's going to go like from the shoulder down to the elbow, just like that. One oval there, and then elbow to wrist, and smaller oval right there. I'm planting my wrist for these shapes, and they are smaller, so I'm just using my fingers, but it's that same idea. Round and round you go. In the long run, we will erase all of these guides, so let them be messy, let them be loose, let them be light on your paper. Now let's add in some connecting triangles. We're going to do a little arc there, little one to connect that hand back to that wrist. Same thing over there. Same thing along the other side. Our panda is sitting down. He's got his little hands rested on his little belly. All right, one oval here from shoulder to elbow. Round we go. Nice and light and loose. Elbow to wrist. Add in that little hand, just like that. Very good. Now we need to connect that back up to the face. On this side, we're just going to do a simple little connecting triangle. And on this side, we're going to do an arc that goes all the way up to that ear. All right, so pandas have dark fur on their arms and a little bit on their chest. So we're going to add in a little arc right about here. That's going to help us know where does that dark fur live. You can plant your wrist and just move your hand back and forth, and it will give you a really nice arc, moving just with the natural way your body's going to move. All right, our little guy is sitting down, so we're going to see kind of knee to ankle. We're not going to see his hips, so we're going to draw an oval right here. It's kind of thicker. And imagine he's sitting, if we were to compare it to a person, Indian style. So this would be like knee to ankle. And then his little foot is bent back up. So here's his foot. Inside that foot, we need those little foot pads because we're going to be looking at the base of his foot. So we're going to do a little oval this way. And then 3 little ovals or circles up here. We're kind of drawing a combination of cartoon and realistic here. Same thing on the other side, pointed in, sitting Indian style. We've got our oval from our knee to our ankle, and then down to our little foot. The foot is flexed back. So on this side, it's a little bit smaller, so we're going to do that oval for that bottom foot pad, and then little circles. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Now, if I'm drawing faster than you at any point and it's making you feel like I can't keep up, pause me. Fill in your ovals and your circles and then hit play, and I'm going to be right here. All right, we need to connect these little shapes back. We're going to do that with just a little arc there and a little arc there. They're really cute when they sit down. Their little bodies kind of smush. So, yeah, they're cute. Okay, when we go in with our marker, we are going to add in a little shaded line right here. So give a little darker mark right there at the top part of that bottom oval. Just like that. That's going to help us know where we're going to shade. You are ready for your marker. So set down that pencil, grab your marker. I am using a Sharpie. You can use whatever kind of marker you have on hand. Anything will work as long as you can't erase it. Let's start at the face. Now, normally I say don't sketch, but because this guy has fur, that's exactly what we're going to do today. So we're going to start up here by the ear and kind of work our way around the face. And we're just going to kind of go with little motions around that circle. You can decide what way is your hair going to go or your fur going to go. I'm just simply doing a touch and kind of just like a little rounded motion, and I'm just going around that face circle just like that with just some cute little fur. Okay, now let's go back up to that ear the other way. Around that circle we go, just down into it like that. We're going to leave a little space there and then hop back around by his jaw, headed down toward the chin, and we're going to stop there. Let's go up to these ears. We're going to go right around our circle there. Now, because it's a loose line, you're just using those circles that we drew as guides. Same thing on that other side, and then you're letting your marks be like a little jaggedy coming off of there. We're going to trace around, and then in the end, we'll go back in and fill in things nice and dark. Okay, in between our ears here, the forehead, we're just going to give a couple little marks for some fur there. Just like nice and loose with your marker. You can hold your marker loose and that will help you get those. You don't want to think about it too much, just a little bit there. All right, now we're ready to go around the eyes. We're going to go around the top part of that circle, onto that connecting triangle, and then around the bottom part of that oval, back up where it connects. See how we've got that shape there for their dark fur? Let's do the same thing on the other side. Around we go. You can go top to bottom, bottom to top. Doesn't really matter. So we've got those dark shapes for those beautiful dark patches on their eyes. Now for their eyes, where we drew that eye circle, I'm going to draw all the way around that and then around the highlight, and you will have most likely filled in most of your eye. So trace around the circle that you drew and then around that highlight that you drew and fill it in, and you will have most likely filled in most of your eye just by tracing around those two things. Now before we forget, let's do those mimicking lines that we had above and below, and you can even see as I'm tracing over it, some of that definition starts to disappear. So try to accommodate for how thick your marker is. All right, just like that. So we've got our eyes. Let's go ahead and fill in that dark fur since there's not much left to it. We're just going to fill in what's left over, nice and dark, with our marker, just like that. Very good. You're doing a good job. All right, around the face here, we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did on the fur. We're going to do that off to the left of that oval, all the way down to the little chinny chin, and then like part of the way back up the face, like that. Now we can kind of fill in underneath. Now for the nose, we did those two circles with an oval. That oval on the top, we're going to trace around that oval, just like that, and then around that little highlighted area, just like that. So we end up with our nose. Now the bottom parts of those circles, those are going to become our mouth. So we're just going to trace around just a little bit of those circles. When we draw that whole shape, when we trace over it, it gives us, it makes it a little bit more convincing. The shapes are, I don't know, they just end up being more right. Now around these eyes, let's do some things to make these eyes look cute. We're going to do just like a little squiggle up above to make it almost like an eyebrow. Same thing on the other side like that. It's just a simple like back and forth. And then around the very bottom, let's add in a couple dots. I always like to do my dots in odd numbers, so I end up with like 5 there and 5 on the other side. Just around the bottom shape there. Just kind of makes it look cute. Moving on to our arms. We're going to go down this connecting triangle and around the outside portion of that oval and all the way down to the hand. And we're going to use that same kind of motion that we did up on the face where it's jaggedy. He's got fur here, so it's not a smooth line. So we're just using these shapes as our guides and going around the outside of them. Now, I'm going to stop there and then come back up because I want my fur to kind of all point down. So we're going to go from here, headed down around the oval, connecting triangle, and around that hand again, just like that. Now when we do that, it just kind of helps point the direction of the fur the way that we want it to go. All right, now we're going to kind of give some jaggedy little connections there for that chest fur that's dark. And we're going to head over to this side. We're going to draw from the ear down to the arm with just some nice light little motions there. This area is going to end up being white, but when we get down here, we're going to go around that shoulder, headed toward that hand with those little motions just like that. Same thing on the other side, around the edges of these shapes, onto the forearm, and then around the hand. Very good. Now remember where I said we're going to have this little crease in his belly, where his little belly fat kind of crinkles up there. We're going to do similarly to that, where we just kind of over the top we go. And we're just going to kind of fill in a little bit there, just to kind of give them that little crease. Moving on down our body, we're going to do the edge of that and then hop onto this leg oval. We're going to go all the way around this one, just like that, down to that foot and stop. All the way around the other side, point your foot the other direction, down to the foot and stop. Now we can go around our foot. Nice and light and loose, just kind of sketching around with our marker. Then we're going to fill in, or actually draw around, sorry, not fill in, draw around that oval that we had for the foot pad, and the ovals that we had for the feet, just like that. Very good. Over to the other side. Do that little connecting arc there. And then our leg around that side down to the foot. And around the inside down to the foot. And then around our foot. All the way around. Nice and light and loose with your marker. Just kind of back and forth and back and forth. Or just touching and going down. Now we're doing the foot pad. Trace all the way around that oval and around these circles, just like that. Now we're ready for that bottom portion. We're just going to kind of make it a little thicker on that end and a little thinner as you go over. All right, we are ready to darken things in. Let's start up by the ears. The ears go nice and dark. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I just kind of back and forth with some little squiggles in between. Now, I don't know if you can see this with my camera, but I will also add in a few places that I go over a few times to make them just ever so slightly darker. Same thing on the other ear. Round and round you go. If I do this faster than you, pause me, fill in your ear. Go over one section a few times, make it a little bit darker. All right, moving down the body, we're gonna do from like where his little, I don't know, what would that be, his cheek? Around underneath his face. This all goes nice and dark. Back and forth we go. If there was a fast forward button here, this is where I would do it, but there isn't, so we're just going to fill this in together. Do that little part that's over his chest. Make sure you let that be nice and loose at the bottom. Down his little arms. Fill that all in nice and dark. Just like that. Be thinking about some ideas on what you want to draw on Friday. Let me know. I've got an idea, but maybe we need some for next week. So I'm just kind of working my way down this arm. I'm doing a faster kind of color in where I'm kind of going back and forth over about 1/4 of an inch at a time, down to that little hand, just like that. That also gives it a little bit of texture. If there's an area you want to be darker, maybe along the body or around the outside, go over it a few times with your marker and let it have a little definition. All right, so there's that part of our panda bear. Over to the other side, same thing. Now we're gonna go all the way up on the shoulder, but we're gonna leave this part nice and white. Just like that. Down we go. I'm doing that back and forth, same thing where I go up 1/4 of an inch down and then I just move my marker down a little bit and overlap. It's okay if you have a little bit of white showing through. Kind of gives it a little bit of motion and movement. If you want to have a few extra little hairs that stick out a little bit, you can kind of go outside those lines that we created when we were filling in the shape of our arm. Go over a few spots a few times to give it a little more depth. Down we go. I'm almost to the hand. Where are you? If I'm going faster than you are, pause me. You know what you're doing at this point. Fill in that arm nice and dark. All right. Moving on. Now we're doing knee to foot. We're going to leave just a tiny bit around that foot lighter so that you can see that definition that there's a foot there. So again, I'm going about 1/4 of an inch and then I just kind of go back up overlapping and overlapping as I go down. How are you doing it? Are you doing nice long motions? Are you following along and doing something similar to what I'm doing? What is your favorite way to color that in? My marker feels really loud. Scribble, scribble as I go down. I feel like mine looks a little too tidy along the edge, so I'm just kind of giving it a little extra as I go along the edge. I'm letting it go outside there and letting it be a little messier. Now as I get down to that foot, I'm keeping in mind that I want to leave just a tiny little bit light so that there's like some definition there, and you can tell, oh, that's where the leg stops. Just a teeny tiny little bit. And I'm going to go in and let that inside of that leg be a little bit darker. So I'll go over that a few times with my marker. All right, for the foot, we're going to leave the pads white and do the rest of the foot nice and dark. Same idea, maybe some smaller motions here. And it's okay if you go into the little pads on your feet. I think in actuality they're dark. So if you wanted to get a black colored pencil and fill them in, you could. That could look cool. Same thing on the other leg. Start up with the knee. If you want to make that edge a little more messy, let your marker go over. Again, I'm kind of coloring in about 1/4 of an inch and then going back up, overlapping as I go down. It's nice and loose. Don't overthink it. It's just meant to be fun. Hope you're getting to do some fun summer things and enjoying your time off of school or work, depending on what your situation is. All right, and then around the foot. Leaving just a little bit, let there be just a little bit that doesn't get colored in there. If you don't like how that looks, color it all in. And if you don't want the pads on the feet, you could color those in too. I just like to have them to let you know you're looking at the bottom of the feet. All right, I'm going to go back up on my hands and just add in a little more messy fur there. You have everything that you need for your adorable panda, so we are ready to switch over to our eraser. I'm using a white eraser. These are my favorite. You can use a pink eraser, you can use the back of your pencil, and we're just going to start up at the top and erase our guides, just like that. If you have a spot that's darker, take a minute and go over it. Make sure you also take a minute to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed drawing with me today. That helps me out and it's, I don't know, validating somehow. There we go. Look at that, the little nose pops right out there. If you send me your drawings, I will put them up on my website, Rebecca Ink, I-N-K, because I like to draw with ink. I will put them up under the Interact tab. You can see them there, and you can see what everybody else has been drawing too. That's really kind of fun. And then onto the feet we go. Goodbye, pencil. Oh, he's so cute, you guys. I really like him. I hope you had fun drawing a panda with me today. I will see you on Friday. Send me your drawings, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.